Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the 39th episode of the SuperNova Show! And I am your host, Colton Roberts. Today, we've got a pretty interesting show. We've got the movie trivia report. We're going to do some NFL talk. We're going to review Venom, Let Be Carnage. And then also talk about What If, episode 9. So, yeah, that would be fun. But, yeah, that would be good. It's going to rock. All right, and today I've got our main man. Not spoiler alert for Multiplex, but we've got the new fandom team champion of the world, Mr. Robert Kastner.
Me.
Yes.
Some people said I couldn't do it. Mostly me. I said that, but it happened somehow.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. I celebrate with a beer.
Good.
Yeah. I celebrated a lot that day. I will tell you that. How's it going, Colton?
I can't really complain, I guess. I have food poisoning. That's been no fun.
Yes, I did. I feel bad. I've always thought I've never had like an official case of food poisoning. I've had what I assumed was mild cases of it, but never confirmed.
Yeah, it's been pretty awful. And then my son had an appendicitis, so he had surgery Saturday night. And while I was at the doctor, I was like, well, I've been feeling bad for a few days. I went to the doctor, found out, yep, food poisoning. Got a COVID test. That came back negative, so we were good there. Good. But yeah, it's been quite a week.
Of course. Yeah, I can imagine. It's had all manners of twists and turns, if you will.
Yeah, it's been a time, that's for sure.
Yep. Well, I'm glad to see like you're feeling better and your son's feeling better. So
yeah, it really just depends on the day. Like he's doing better. Right now, I am not doing great, but I'm still doing the show because hey, that's what we're here for.
Of course, it's a job like any other. Sometimes
that's right, and we missed last week because
we did. We missed because I was having my anniversary.
Yes, and I was not feeling well, so
that day was a very good day for me. I very much enjoyed it. I wish I could go back to that day, honestly.
I understand.
This Friday, albeit this notwithstanding. But
yes. All right, so let's move on to some NFL talk. Okay, so the Panthers got their butt kicked by the Cowboys.
So interestingly enough, since we talked, it's been kind of downhill for the Panthers.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yep.
They still have a winning record. They play a team going in the opposite direction this week of them. So it's kind of an interesting contrast. The Panthers will be another week sans Christian McCaffrey, their best player, as was confirmed today. So they will struggle a bit. Full disclosure, I am not picking them to win the game.
Who are they playing this week?
They are playing Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
I believe the Panthers are favored by like 1.5, I think is what it is currently, which means it's almost a pick 'em. Or they're thinking Minnesota is actually better because generally speaking, when you play at home, you get 3 points on the line. So if you get less than that, usually they think that the other team's better.
Yeah, and then Brady went to New England and won.
He did, but it was one of those weird things where it kind of seemed like a game that nobody won because it was very weird. It was a very field goal heavy game, and the Patriots could have won that game, but Nick Folk missed a 56-yarder because Belichick opted for that as opposed to trying to go for it and ice the game. But whatever. Brady won. He set the record for most yards, which was bound to happen eventually because he outlived everybody else. I don't know if that record will be touched. Maybe if Aaron Rodgers plays long enough, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and they beat Philadelphia.
Yes. By the time this is recording, they beat Philadelphia a few days ago. And that game was never really in doubt, despite how close this was. So Tampa's looking fairly comfortable as the favorite in that division.
Okay. You talk about football for just a second. I am going to run out of the room. My mother-in-law keeps on calling me
Interesting.
to talk to my wife. So
Interesting turn of events. Okay, I can certainly do that.
all right, thank you.
So we've gone through basically the NFC South. In the last couple weeks, what have we learned? We've learned that there's only one undefeated team left. It's Arizona Cardinals. They won 2 critical divisional games. They beat the crap out of the LA Rams, which the Rams had just come off beating the Bucks. So that was sort of unexpected, even though it was at home, I believe. And Arizona just made a trade. Again, this is airing on Sunday, so they just made a trade on Friday for the Eagles tight end Zach Ertz. They have tight end issues. Arizona's only getting stronger, so they're kind of the odds-on favorite, especially in that division where Russell Wilson's now hurt and the 49ers are all banged up. So really the only competition is the Rams, and they have a 1.5 game lead on them. But most people will probably still say the Bucks or the Packers are the favorites because of who they have a quarterback. In the AFC, the Bills have been pretty dominant since they lost that game to the Steelers. I don't know how the Steelers won that game looking at that team now. Because the Bills went into Kansas City and won, which was a huge game. So the Bills are probably, I said the Cardinals are like the favorite, kind of, but really I think the Bills are kind of the odds-on favorite as it stands right now. That could change.
Are the Rams in the AFC?
No.
No. Okay.
No, the Bills' main competition at this point would be Baltimore, because they won their crazy ass game on Monday against the Colts, and Lamar put on like a show. The Browns lost they lost an even crazier game to the Chargers. I think it was like 47-45, if I remember correctly, or 49-47. The Chargers, who are leading a division that has Kansas City in it. Kansas City's 2-3, which is insane. And then Vegas. I did it. Made that mistake. Vegas was in the news because their coach is a misogynist and anti-gay, and emails leaked that people found. So he resigned, and they had been losing a couple games, so they're probably out of it. So really in the AFC, you have 4 teams, and it might not even be that many. But mostly it's the Bills. I think most people would say it's Bills, Cardinals, Bills, Rams, Bills, Bucks, Bills, Packers, maybe for favorite for the Super Bowl right now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have my phone right now, so.
No, you're fine. Anything you want to know as a avid fantasy football player, I know.
Yeah, I can't look any games up, and I can't look up any trivia stuff in a few minutes. Or
if you want, I can give you the breakdown of the games. That's no problem. We'll just go ahead and we'll do the week 6 schedule. We obviously already had the one game, as you had mentioned, with the Bucks beating the Eagles, and the Eagles made a critical trade on Friday. They traded their tight end to Arizona because Arizona's lost their starting tight end for the season, and they needed somebody. And the tight end that they got rid of was somebody who the Eagles were not going to re-sign. So that was kind of an expected sort of trade, and he was pretty good in that game. We have another London game. We had our start of London games last week. It's one of those glorious things where you wake up on Sunday, if you're a football fan, and football's already playing. It's really kind of nice. Last week it was the Jets playing the Falcons, and the Falcons won. This week it's the Dolphins playing the Jaguars. When we try to outsource football, we don't try to outsource it with the best teams for some reason. We try to outsource it with the worst teams. Never figured out that strategy. The big games this week, Chargers are playing the Ravens. That's a pretty good one. The Rams are playing the Giants. That's not a big game, but the Giants played the Cowboys on Sunday, and the Giants basically lost their entire offense. So they're kind of a triage unit. The Chiefs are playing the Washington Professional Football Team. Washington Professional Football Team also in the news because they have an email scandal going on. So that's pretty funny. And it's weird to think that the Chiefs have a potential to be 2-4. Cardinals play the Browns. That's a pretty big divisional game, interconference game. The Cowboys play the Patriots in one of the few times where the Cowboys are actually going to be considered a favorite in that game because the Cowboys are actually pretty good. Raiders are playing the Broncos. That matters for the sake of that they're both 3-2, and there's going to be one of them that's 4-2 potentially, unless they tie. Steelers play on Sunday night against the Seahawks, but again, that's the Seahawks with no Russell Wilson. So I'm feeling confident about our team getting back to 500. And then the Bills play the Titans on Monday night. So that's the breakdown of games. For the
And did you say who Carolina? Or
yeah, they're playing Minnesota early.
Yep. Okay.
So Packers play the Bears. That's big for traditional sake as well. That's also a big one. So there's a lot of good games this week. A lot of interesting games because of like the Carolina-Minnesota game. You got teams going up and you got teams going down, asymptotic style, and don't know how they're going to end up. Usually, at this point, we're now going to be a third of the way through the season after this week.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
Why is it that we do the international game?
Well, they're if you didn't know, prior to like 2004, there used to be an NFL Europe League. There used to be a series of teams around basically Western Europe, and they used to play. It was kind of like how basketball players or baseball players go internationally because they weren't good enough to play in America. So they would go there and then hopefully get seen so that they could get some team to bring them back. It was kind of like a minor league thing. That league folded over 20 years ago. They're trying to make football more global. Like the NBA is especially global. Like the NBA was playing games in China forever. They still are kind of. Somebody in the NBA let their political interest be known about what was happening in Hong Kong with the slavery issues. So China didn't like that. But baseball, basketball, even hockey has kind of a more international foothold than football. So football's been trying to expand that. So they have these. It used to be one London game a year, and then it was 2, and now it's 3, I believe, maybe even 4. And they're thinking about expanding that out to Germany. They tried the games. They've done the games in Mexico, which have been successful. So it's really just about brand expansion, going to more markets, making more money.
Okay.
But again, we do a terrible job at it because we don't put our best teams to go there. We put our shittiest teams to go there.
Yeah, that's probably because our best teams probably don't want to go there.
No, they probably don't, because it used to be that there were situations where people would go to London and then they would have to play the next week. They've sorted that out where now the teams that go to London, their bye week is the next week. So for instance, I said the Jets and the Falcons played last week. They're on bye this week. They're not playing because they want to try to mitigate the effects of having to go overseas to play. So that means the Dolphins and the Jaguars will be on bye next week. But that's mainly what's going on in football. Kyler Murray's currently the MVP frontrunner. Not Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, because Kyler Murray's leading an undefeated team and he's completing passes at a 75% clip, which is disgusting. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, also in the mix. Brady is in the mix, but Kyler Murray is the favorite for MVP.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't really have anything to say there. It's such a weird concept of because football outside of the United States isn't. I mean, I guess it's kind of popular in Canada because
Yeah.
they have the CFL,
Mhm.
and then all of that. But I mean, football outside of the United States is soccer, so it's weird that
Football Americana or whatever. That's why when you answer trivia questions and they ask what sport a movie is based on, a lot of people put American football.
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on to some movie trivia.
Okay.
All right. So, first and foremost, how are you doing? It's been 2 weeks since you won
Yeah, almost 3.
officially.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. How am I doing?
Yeah. Like.
I'm still a little bit in shock over it, honestly. I spent a lot of time. So full disclosure, the day that I filmed the TM Geek title match against Joe was the day that I also had to go and do drafting for movies for deep cuts with Fandom Team's title. And that actually ran into that. So I made this excuse, but I'm going to reiterate that the TM Geek thing was running late and ran into that. And to be honest, I was focusing more on the fandom thing at the time. I was losing anyway, but I was just, my focus was diverted a bit because in fandom that you get 8 or you get 10, sorry, it's more. You get 10 deep cut movies to study. But before that, there's a draft where both teams draft 5 categories of fandom. And then whatever category you pick, the other team picks the movie in.
Okay.
That's how you end up with those movies. So Jake and I split them, and we did deep cut training, which, by the way, when I do deep cuts, it takes me twice as long to watch a movie. It's not very fun to watch a movie with me when I'm doing that because I'm always pausing, writing stuff down, or I'm reversing. It's very annoying. I can understand why anybody would hate doing that. Going into that match, I thought we were going to lose, and I was like, okay, we'll be like a 2 or 3 seed in the tournament. So we'll be able to win a couple rounds, and then we'll probably have to play somebody like Wookiee or Lights, Camera, and Action, or somebody of like Guns and Ships, somebody of pretty good reputation, and we might be able to get back to the titles. I was trying to play it as loose as possible, as ball of nerves. Round 1, I don't know how. Like everybody always told us, the people that we solicited for advice who had played it against Knights of Ren, you can't lose it in you can't win it in round 1. You can definitely lose it. So we just wanted to try to keep pace. 15 out of 20 is kind of our goal usually, and we ended at 16.
Okay.
Is what we were. I think we both got 8, Jake and I. And we somehow had a lead in that, which was evident by the fact that when we got to round 2 and they asked us, do we want to defer or not? We were like, we don't know, because we generally didn't think the possibility would come that we would be leading after 1. So we deferred. They get MCU. It's the 3rd time in 5 matches that the team got MCU and ran the category. It's hilarious. Then we got Bond, and that's Jake's strength. That's something... By the way, after that title match, I went and I bought the entire Blu-ray collection of all 24 Bonds before the 25th one. And I've been trying to work my way through it. I'm in the 80s right now of Bonds. I'm more than halfway through. We did fair in that. They got a steal. We're down 3. So at that point, I figure we lost because we weren't going to get the lead back. Then, if you're familiar with fandom, obviously they add a couple more rounds for the teams for the title matches. And the one they add is one of the ones they add is IMDb or filmography, where they basically just say who played whatever and whatever in different types of fandom category movies. So Jake and I go first. Jake's usually better at that than I am, so I let him take the 2. I get the 1 easily. He has to use a repeat for the 2, and I knew the 2 right away. And I was like, oh man, I really wish we would have done it the other way. If he misses this, it's going to suck. But he got it. And then we got the 3, which I was happy about. Ren gets their 1 and 2 fairly easily. They missed their 3. So at that point, we're tied after 3. And I'm like, well, we're at least getting to 5. We're at least getting to round 5. That was our goal. Don't get knocked out, get to round 5. We go tit for tat until we get to Star Trek. And if you watch the match, one of the other things about playing in a title match, in a team's title match especially, is that you are simultaneously doing a StreamYard stream and a Skype stream, so that you can discuss openly answers with your teammate where you can confer without expressing that audibly so that the other team can get a sense. So that's why we're like baseball pitchers and catchers, and we're covering our mouths so that people can't read lips, even though I bet nobody would be able to read lips anyway. But we still do that because we're paranoid. So we get to the Star Trek question. That's the movie I binged. The question came up. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's this. It's the only thing I can think of. I wasn't 100% confident. We get that, and we have a lead going into round 5. And I don't know how that happened either. And then we do our betting. And Bill was our manager during that match. Anthony is usually working on the weekends. And we didn't think we were going to have to use codes because we thought we would have to bet 2 the whole way through. Like, there was no way we were going to not have to bet 2. But we had a lead, so that kind of changed that philosophy too. We planned terribly because we made a lot of assumptions. Key for everybody out there watching this, never make assumptions. Ever. Because they can totally crash and burn. Jake gets his 2. So we're tied. We're still up 2. Then we get a Bond question, which I didn't know. So I end up having to take Bond. It's a Bond question I actually know. It's one I got. However, because I've always assumed that the man named Christoph Waltz always had an L in his first name, that was challenged that Christoph and Christoph are different, which they are. But I am not an idiot, and I know that his name is Christoph Waltz and not Christoph Waltz, which I said. But we challenged. Fortunately, I only bet 1, because had I bet 2, I would have been more pissed. And we would have went to sudden death, and God knows we probably would have lost that. So we're up 1, and then we do our 2-2-2. Jake gets, I forget offhand right now. I think it's horror. He gets horror. And they both get it, him and Tim. Nick and I get Wizarding World, and we both get it. So we're up 1. So we get to pick the category. We get to pick the which question we want for Planet of the Apes. And Jake and I made it a specific. This is how fate works. Jake and I specifically watched all the Apes movies. He did the pre reboot, and I did the reboot ones. They get their question pretty easily. We get a question that I knew and he knew, obviously, and we say it, and they announce us as champions, and we're elated. And we do our post-match, and I try to make sure I don't cry, but I tear up because I'm a big baby. And anytime there's anything emotional, I can't help it. And I'm a little truthful in my statements. I don't sugarcoat anything about how I feel about it. And yeah, we're the champions. We don't have to go into the tournament, which is wonderful for Jake because Jake is a 50-50 player through and through. He really prefers not to watch fandom stuff. He prefers to watch regular movie stuff, high-class movie stuff. I guess you would consider me more the traditional fandom geek player. So I'm also happy because that means we just don't have to study as much. And we only have 1 more of these matches, which is great. So now we're just waiting for the end of the tournament.
Yes.
We have to defend against. Sorry, that was a very long rambling thing about what happened during the match, but I figured you wanted to know.
Yes.
How that went.
I was thinking that the entire time, like the Christoph Waltz question, that made me so mad. Like I was sitting there just fuming because I was like, if this is the reason why they lose, I'm gonna be pissed.
It would have been, if we lost because of that, it would have been hard for me to recover. Honestly, because full disclosure, everybody, Jake and I in 5 matches have only missed one round 3 question, or in this case, round 5, and it was that question, which is hilarious.
And you obviously knew the answer.
I did, and the one thing I was concerned about was I knew Christoph Waltz and Donald Pleasance. I was trying to remember. I always forget Telly Savalas. I always think it's Terry Savalas, but I remembered it was Telly Savalas, and I got really excited about it. I was told that I should stop trying to keep score and stuff all over my board because I mentioned it during the match. Because there's so much scoring going on, my scoring was taking over a big chunk of the board, so I had to compress. I didn't think I would have to write 3 full names down for an answer, but I did. But I knew the answer. Yes, I did know it.
Yep. Yeah, because he only got 2, right? Because it was Tim.
He didn't know Telly Savalas. He got Pleasance and Christoph Waltz. And the other one, by the way, is Charles Gray, which I just learned from doing this Bond watch. So I do know that now.
So, yeah, like I was so happy for you. Like I was really happy for you. Like I could not be happier. And
thank you, man. It means a lot to me because I watched Fandom and Warzone for like a year, maybe half a year before I decided to join. And I always thought it was kind of like the upper tier of movie trivia stuff that I would never be able to get into because I thought you had to either know people or you had to be really, really, really good and test into stuff. So the fact that a faction wanted me, that I got to play in a bunch of matches, that Jake and I got to join forces, and that we got to get on a short road to a title, and that we got to win the title. So I'm in this part of, even though people aren't really taking historical context with it, not really, I get to be in the history of the lore of fandom because I'm a champion. And I got to bring the first title home for our faction. It's also very cool to me. So not only just about the strict idea on the surface of winning it, but what it means going forward in fandom and for the faction means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because trust me, I didn't think I'd be the first person to win a belt. Jake didn't think his first belt would be in fandom, which is also funny. And fortunately, because of a match that just aired, we might have another soon-to-be Fun DMC champion, which would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really happy for you guys, and I don't even know what to say. Like I'm really glad that you won. Like really glad that you won. And yeah, like you rock, man.
Thanks, man.
It's good to see someone like you said that you loved that so much, and like
I do.
It's good to see that someone enjoys that because I've realized more and more that I don't know if I do or not, but you really enjoy it, and hey, as long as you're doing what you enjoy, do it. I'm glad you guys don't have to have an immediate rematch with Knights of Ren.
They said that after, I think they said that before we did the match, that they didn't want they wanted to go and do like 3-round games and play in a tournament because they never got to play in a tournament. I mean, Jake and I haven't played in a tournament, so that'll be a minute before that happens. Because even if we lose to whoever comes out of the fall tournament, we won't play in a tournament till like the summer of 22. So
yeah. And then I'm trying to think. Like I figure they'll be the ones who win.
They are the 1 seed. They only are through 2 fandom teams matches right now. I'm trying to remember who won these matches. Lights, Camera, and Action beat our faction mates, Whomping Willows. So Redshaw and Holtzman beat Melissa and Tyler. So they're going to play the winner of Wookiee Mistake, Joe and David, and Anyone Can Cook, which is Jack Pinchuk and Matthew Wood, who are a pretty good team for a 15 seed or whatever. And then trying to remember the other one. Welcome to Fandom Curse Word, as the guys like to say, or Welcome to Fandom Bitch, beat Kane and his girlfriend, who are like the Mythic Questers, the Questmasters. That's what they are. So they're going to play. So Welcome to Fandom Bitch is going to play the winner of Knights of Ren and Fandom Ranked, which is Matt Quaylar and Mike Hanley, I believe. But yeah, they kind of let us know. And if you watch fandom stuff, especially that day that Facebook went down,
Yeah.
they filmed all the round 1 matches at this point. And I think at this point, as we sit here today, they filmed the round 2 matches too. So I think they're in the semis right now of that tournament.
Okay.
In addition to that, we also have Game of Factions, where we figure out what faction is, if we're all sticking around, or if there's one that's going to be relegated to whatever. I don't really know how that works, especially if you have champions on the faction that gets relegated. But I will probably have 3 more fandom matches for the year left. But yeah, the expectation is that Ren will play Wookiee Mistake in the finals of the tournament, and that we'll have to play Ren again. But if we have to play Ren again, I at least have the confidence to know that we can win.
Yeah, that's true. So,
and even if we lose, we've already beaten them once.
Yeah, I was about to say is even if you lose to them, you will always go down in history as that one in the whatever in one.
Yeah, I think Nick and Tim explained it as, well, if we beat them again, then really they've only lost to one team, and that's us. And then if they beat us, then it's like, well, we either have to do a rubber match to decide who's actually best, or you could say that our win was a fluke, quote unquote. I don't think anybody would actually say that, but I think you could make that argument if you wanted to.
All right, so let's talk some Schmodown.
Yes, there's a big match that happened in the time that we have been away.
Yeah, so actually, I think technically two big matches. Well, a lot of stuff has happened.
Okay.
Because last time that we played, or we were on this show, Robert Parker had not played Saul yet.
Oh, you're right. Yes. Thank you.
Parker absolutely killed him.
He destroyed him.
Yep. Collins lost to Brendan Meyer.
I didn't watch that match, but I did see that. So how did that match go? Can you give me a brief recap?
I think it was the 5-pointer.
Oh, he missed on a 5-pointer again?
Collins missed the 5-pointer.
Okay. As someone who misses 5 and 4-pointers, I can understand that.
Yeah. And then we have the Damon Civil War, which went exactly as I suspected.
Yeah.
But Molly did a really good job. Like, she only missed 3 questions. It was just that her questions that she missed. One in round 1, one round 2, I think, and then her 5-pointer.
I mean, 5-pointer is a pretty big one to miss.
Yeah. And then Of course, we had Marisol defend against Chance.
Yeah. Incredible match she played. Just really good. That match didn't go as I anticipated. I thought it would be closer. But Chance got a category he clearly was not comfortable with. And she did get a category she was comfortable with. And that really was the match because they were even throughout the rest of it, and he missed his 5. In a fairly difficult 5 if you don't know above the rim.
Yeah. And so she defended there. And then the thing I thought was going to happen almost happened. Paul Oyama's music hit. And I'm like, oh my Lord, I'm a prophet. I've done the thing. And then Chandru comes out and says that Paul Oyama is cashing in his contract for him to play Amaru or Mike sometime before Spectacular. And I'm like, no. Why? Unless they already know, like they've filmed stuff up until this point and they know Oyama's won the singles tournament. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't think they would have filmed all that yet, right?
I mean, they may have.
Okay. I would figure that was unlikely that they would.
I mean, they could have if a lot of it was digital, which like today's match between Dan and Lon was digital and Dan won. So, because they could with digital matches, they do an entire round in a day, theoretically.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
But yeah, like I was so mad because not only now, like we'll find out next week how Rue did.
Yes.
But now I'm like, corruption's already winning the faction thing. So if why and you've already lost to Mike, I want to see you play Mike. I really don't want to see you play Amaru. I just want to see Amaru play Robert Parker. Or to see Robert Parker murder Mike. But now, if Chandru gets the match and wins, Chandru could potentially beat Parker.
Well, he's already done it.
Yeah, he's already done it. So that part is entirely possible. But now,
wait, so how will that work? So like, if Rue beats Mike, then Chandru plays Rue.
Yep.
And then the winner of that plays Parker. Is that the deal?
Yep.
Okay. That's another one of these situations like you talked about before where we have like 4 contenders, which is really dumb. But that's what happens when you have automatic title shots thrown in there, I guess.
Yeah. Because now we have 3 number 1 contenders for the Energy Championship. But that's whatever. But and that match is next week. I'm pretty like I'm not making any prediction. You can make whatever you want to say.
Okay.
But I'm not doing it. Next week is Amaru's match with Mike, and that will be good times. Yep. And then yeah, like now we will get to see Alex versus Nikki. That will be interesting. I still think Alex is going to be the one who wins.
Yeah.
But and Gold Leader is going to play Laura, and I think
that'll be a good one.
Yeah, that would be a really good one.
Yeah.
And then I think Alex is going to win the tournament to go up against Harper, and that would be good. But
what's your prediction? So are you thinking Alex just wins this?
Yeah,
and
I think so.
Okay. I'm gonna go out. I'm actually gonna go a different route because I want to. I'm going to say Gold Leader wins the tournament.
Okay.
Gold Leader, Harper 2.
That would be interesting. Like, honestly, when I was watching the match Wednesday, I wanted Molly to win so bad because I thought that would be so funny.
It would be really weird.
Yeah, it sure would.
Not that she's not capable. It's just she's not as capable as Alex, but few people are. So what are you going to do?
Yep. All right.
So you skip past one match, and I only want to mention it because I think I think we have to take this seriously. You skipped over the undercard in New York.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was because I was thinking like Newman destroyed them, right?
No, I bring this up. Yeah, it was a knockout.
Yeah.
But I bring this up because Griffey Nooms is 4-0, and I don't see a reason why he can't win the tournament.
Yeah, I think I don't want Jinx or have the curse destroy him, but I think he's winning the tournament and he's beating Marisol at Spectacular.
He's really good. He's obviously been good, and he beat Jacoby, and Jacoby's very good. But that one where he didn't get spinners, right? He just got directors, and he just took it. And the way he just hit through those questions. Now, granted, his opponent was not game, obviously. I mean, he got opponents, but those Pixar questions weren't the hardest Pixar questions I've ever heard in my life. And he just ran through. I mean, who's he play next? Is it Paul? Does he play Paul next?
I do not know. I'd have to go back and look at my.
Okay, they had the bracket up on the thing, and I was trying to remember.
Yeah, I do not remember.
Because to tell you the truth, how big a Schmodown fan I am not anymore. I did not know that Griffey Nooms. Who was it? Who's his opponent?
Josh Horowitz.
Josh Horowitz. I didn't know that was a tournament game. I thought that was just the undercard for having two people from New York's sake, honestly.
Yeah, and I know a bunch of our friends and stuff were in New York.
They were, yes. They met up. Basically 75% of my faction met up.
Yep. I was thinking about, I want to go to this, but then I decided not to for personal reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, like, nah.
They had a blast. If you have any presence on social media, you can see all the pictures and stuff that came from it. If you're friends with any of these people,
Yep.
It looked like they had a good time.
Yeah, it looked like it was good, and like they were Bill was rocking the DMC shirt. Yeah.
They had a nice time where they did karaoke.
Yep.
And as I was told, there were 3 champions in the picture. There are 3 current champions that were in the picture because they took the picture with Adam Collins and Marisol.
Yeah.
So there's a picture with Marisol as Schmodown champion, Jake as the Fandom Teams champion, and Andrew James Barr as the Warzone Singles champion.
Mm.
And I think there were others in there too that could be considered, but of like stuff people in the communities mostly know, those are like the ones.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and call the movie trivia report a day, unless you have something else you want to say, and then let's move on to
just a couple things. I don't know what happened to Full Metal. Kind of seems like it's dead.
Yeah.
No, I mean not dead. Just like they did the singles title between Brian and Joseph, but they haven't put out any matches since then. It seems. So I don't know what's happening there. Warzone had their teams tournament complete, as I mentioned. Ginyu Force, my faction mates, David Nishimoto, Payson Johnson, they won. They won their second tournament. So they're going to play a rematch with Wild Stallions, the aforementioned Brian and Joseph. to see who will be the champions there. And then there was a number one contender match between Caleb Boatman and Cameron Redshaw. Holtzman. And Boatman won, so Boatman's playing Andrew Barr for the title. And Ontel is in the midst of their teams and singles tournament. Those are still going on. But I think they're basically both in round 3, so they're in the semis. So that's coming to a conclusion for tournament sake, for championship sake. So just wanted to get those out there because those
and TNG did their thing. Jay Burns beat Noah.
Yes, fairly handily. I was impressed by Jay's showing. Jay could beat Ryan.
Malcolm.
Yeah. I have my match in that tournament coming up shortly against Nico.
Yeah, so if you beat Nico, you gotta play David again.
Whoopity-doo! The third freaking time.
Yep. So
I've played. It'll be the match on this match that's coming up. If I play Nico, that'll be my 7th match, I believe. And I will have played Nico twice and David twice.
Yep.
My 8th match, if I win, then I'll play David 3 times and Nico twice. So that shows you the kind of variety I get to see in TM Geek.
Yep. All right, let's move on to talk about Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Or as I said, let there be garbage.
Which I don't understand. I love that movie.
Oh my gosh, you love it?
Yeah, it was so...
It's humorous at points, but it is not good as a movie.
Like, I loved, like, the length of the movie was perfect. Like, I didn't get...
definitely shouldn't have been longer. They definitely nailed the length part of it. Okay.
Yeah, I loved every second of it. Like, Amaru posted a review on his Bites breakdown thing, and I was like, I love it. But who do I...
You could have differing opinions. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I love this, but what do I know? Like, I'm also the one who chose The Rock over Jackie Chan and his One Gotta Stay thing. But, and he was like, you would, man. And I'm like, yeah.
Damn. Are you going to get invited back?
Well, he hasn't done it forever, so.
He hasn't, but he's been busy.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a great movie. Like, I like everything. Like, they dropped the mutant bomb at the beginning of the movie with Shriek, and they're like,
I like that Ravencroft. I like Ravencroft showed up. That was cool. That was tight. I liked that.
Yeah, and I like how they explained how he got the Carnage symbiote. That was good. Like, I liked all of it. Like, every single part of that movie, I liked it. Like, and then the end credit scene or mid credit scene, whatever you want to call it.
It's a mid credit scene. There was no end credit scene. We stayed around. I was hoping there would be an end credit scene. There was not. So that was.
And that one just made me like, I loved it, and I was just like, yes.
I was happy they did it, but like, it makes no goddamn sense.
Well,
and by that I mean it makes no goddamn sense that Venom would, like, in that scenario, there's no reason why Venom should dislike Peter Parker or want to hurt him.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I'm wondering if now this is like obviously going to be a No Way Home situation. What's the whatever the new
Spider-Verse?
Whatever the new movie is that's coming out in December.
No Way Home.
Yep. So I think that my prediction for that is that he'll attach himself to Peter Parker for just a minute, and then Peter will be like, "No, get off of me." And then that's how Venom will get the spider logo. Like they'll do something real fast like that, just so he'll get it. And that at the end, I think Venom will get sent back to his universe, but Peter will be transported with
Mm.
because of some things that like Tom Holland has said this last week. And I figured, yeah, like I like Woody Harrelson as
Yeah, he was fine.
Cletus Cassidy. I like the fact that like Shriek, whenever she used her powers, uh, Carnage was like, "Yeah, stop that, or I'm gonna kill her." And then
That was the smartest thing they did, but they grossly underutilized an Oscar-nominated actress in Naomi Harris.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, but I really liked it. But
They're fun popcorny movies, but they're not good movies. And this one was especially not good. But I mean, they made me laugh. I guess that's something. And it's really just the Tom Hardy talking to himself, talking to Venom, that made me laugh. Everything else was not funny.
yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time come December.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, now we got Venom in here. We got Doc Ock. We got Doctor Strange, potential Goblin,
Potential, there's
Electro.
definitely Green Goblin.
Yeah, but
There's
yeah,
Goblin Bomb in the trailer.
yeah. But I'm wondering if like that's gonna be like a throwaway thing, and then it's not gonna be Green Goblin. It's gonna be
What?
Ned Hobgoblin or something.
No, I think they would. If they were going to do a Ned Hobgoblin, I think they would do something that was wholly unique to him and not be very similar to the. I know Hobgoblin and Green Goblin are basically the same thing, but I think in the respect for Ned, I think they would make his stuff more different.
Yeah, but yeah, like it's really interesting where this is gonna go. Uh, like also like if Venom stays in the MCU, that means his universe is there. That means like Carnage isn't gone. That means we can have the MCU's version of Carnage.
He ate Carnage.
Yeah. Well,
By
yeah.
the way, that was also dumb. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand how that was a possibility.
They just ate him. Yeah.
Yeah. That's stupid. He was so This is how I know the movie's dumb, and you can disagree with me. When Venom gets to the church for the final battle, he is terrified. He does
Yep.
not want to have that fight. But like he could have just taken the symbiote and eaten it, and he would have been like, that's how I know the movie was dumb.
And he was like, "Oh no, he's red."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, time to die," or whatever it was. And then he's like, "Yeah, go get." That's right. He's like, "No, it's we're gonna die." Like I loved all the stuff with like Venom being on his own and all that stuff. Like
I did like that, but he seemed very negligent of what he had learned from Eddie Brock and was just content with using up a bunch of people. He was just like, yep, gonna use these people up. That's cool.
and I do like that they, there's the trope in movies that the boyfriend of the girl that's the love interest, the main character, he's always a dickhead. Like Dan is not a dickhead. He's
which is a very much departure from his character on Veep.
Yeah, and like he's a good dude.
Or as Venom would say, he's a pussy.
I like you, Dan. Yeah, I'm ready to see where it goes.
Okay. How did you feel about the directing stylings of one Andy Serkis?
I liked it.
I did not know he was the director till like days before.
Yeah, I liked it. I think isn't this his first feature film?
No, he did the Mowgli movie. He did that Jungle Book take that was on Netflix. So,
Oh, okay.
and I think he did one other movie before that even, but I don't know that one. But he did Mowgli.
Okay. But yeah, I liked it. I kind of hate that they trimmed 30 minutes of his movie down because I wonder what that would have been like.
Yeah, on a director's cut DVD, that's fine.
Yeah, I know, but like as someone who he doesn't direct a lot, he was probably pretty bummed out. He was like, "Oh, that was like 3 minutes of my life."
I would expect him to be directing more and more, especially because this movie's making a bunch of money.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I liked it, but
good. I think I like the first one more, but that's not really saying much.
So, okay, I will agree with that. I definitely do like the first one more, but I also love the first one. Like I was messaging you when I was watching it with my sons.
You did.
And I was like, "This is so good," and
you were so happy.
Yeah, and you were like, "Well, I'm glad you think that," and I'm like, "Yeah."
I mean, Let There Be Carnage was trying to play on my nostalgia of playing Separation Anxiety or Maximum Carnage on Sega Genesis in the 90s when I was a child, and it did a fair job to try to play into that. But that's it. I was trying to keep that separate, my nostalgic feelings for that game. But that it was like a game. I mean, it was set up like playing with your toys. That movie was, and that's fine. But it doesn't. A good movie, it makes not. Is my point.
I understand. All right. So let's move on to a segment that I don't have a name for yet, but TV. What if episode 9? What'd you think of that?
I just watched it the day of filming, by the way. I had not taken time to watch it before, and I watched it that day for filming today, I guess you'd say.
Yes.
And I loved it.
Oh, yeah, I loved it too. Now, it was
great.
It kind of kills my entire
Doctor Strange thing. Yeah, it kills that.
Yeah, like, but now I'm like, the Watcher is all powerful. Like, he can see exactly what was happening. But then in episode 8, he couldn't fight Ultron himself.
He tried.
Yeah.
I like to think of him as like if you combined maybe Strange and Wong together, their power levels, you would get like the Watcher.
Yeah.
They still no match for 6 Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, I just said this with Venom, but this episode was definitely one of those put your action figures together and make them fight. And this is kind of the scenario you would come up with. So it did have that, which is cool. But really what sets this apart for me is the moments in the pub. The moments in the pub are what I think make this episode great, personally. But that's just me.
And I do like that. I mean, they've confirmed there's going to be a season 2. So I like that. And I like the little in tag with them going back to the Carter universe and, oh, they found the Hydra Stomper.
Yeah. So, like, I didn't understand that. Can you explain it to me? So Steve has just been, like, was he in stasis? So he's the same age or he's old?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
okay. So, they said it, and I was like, yeah, he's been in armor, so he should be dead. What are you trying to say? I don't understand.
Yeah, like, or yeah, I agree. Like, he's either going to be a really old man and Hydra been feeding him.
Okay.
Just slowly, or he's a young dude and S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been hiding him away from her for whatever reason. I don't know.
Is he supposed to be like the Bucky Barnes then?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. I guess that's possible, right? Because he's the one who. No, he was at the Hydra headquarters.
Yeah.
He didn't fall off the train, right?
No.
He did. He did because he got captured. He was there, but he didn't get experimented on. I guess the point is that Bucky didn't get experimented on because he didn't fall off the train. So maybe he was Hydra's secret weapon all along.
Yeah, and I've seen so many memes that have been like when he sends the zombie universes Natasha to the like Loki trying to take over the planet timeline. I've seen so many people like because he's like, I'll send you to a universe they lost their widow, and I was like, I've seen so many pictures of her popping in game and being like, "Yep, I'm here now," and I'm like, "Yeah, that only won't happen because of Scarlett Johansson."
They could recast it.
Yeah, but they won't do that.
Yeah, that point where Strange drops all the zombies on him is my favorite single part of the episode. Like that's my favorite sequence. I think that's hilarious, and I'm glad they threw that in just to make sure that connected as well.
And I love how like Killmonger is supposed to be like all helping, and he's like, "Ooh, I got the Infinity Stones now."
I thought that was fairly obvious that was going to happen, and that I was surprised that nobody picked up on that. I assume they talked a lot.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah,
but that part at the end with Natasha is great.
Yeah,
that part when they're going back and he, the thing with Peggy about how she wants to be in a different time and how that time they needed, but he knew that already. And then because I thought that too, I was like, well, where's Natasha gonna go? Because her world is a piece of shit now. She can't just live on the world, but she can't I Am Legend this beast. That's not fair. So
especially when all the zombies have now been dropped onto a random planet.
Well, I mean, that wasn't her universe, right? And it's not on her planet anyways. But I mean, yeah, you're just making a joke. Yes, I get it.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like all the zombies from her world were dumped onto another world.
That wasn't her world, though. Was it not? No, she was just in the world where Ultron took over. That wasn't the zombie world. That's a different.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I thought you were just making a joke because zombies are an I Am Legend.
No, I just got confused.
No, she would literally just be on the planet by herself in desolation. I was like, well, that's not really a way to live. So hopefully they figure out something nice for her to do. And the nice for her thing to do was to beat the shit out of Loki.
Yeah.
And Fury realizing that she was from a different universe, which I also don't understand. But unless he saw her die, I guess that could happen. But yeah, that end part, the emotional beats it hit was really good.
Now I do wonder in that universe, how did Loki get the scepter? Because like he got it from Thanos, but if he's the king of Asgard, I don't think he would have ever had a situation
where that same universe.
Yeah, because I assume so.
Okay.
Because it was the universe where Cap had just gotten unfrozen and Marvel was there and Fury was
doing. That makes sense. I don't know how he got the
Mind Stone.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Oh well.
Season 2, it'll be rocking. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think most of the episodes were good to great.
Yep. Now I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready for season 2. It'll be nice. I'm wondering where this will all go. With it, definitely kills my idea of what Evil Strange is doing.
Yeah, no, he's just a watcher. He's his own watcher. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And he wasn't really that evil. He was just a way more powerful Strange. He just kicked the crap. Like he was so important. And Ultron had it right. He's like, I just gotta. If I destroy you, then everybody else is done. I was like, yep.
Yeah, I've also seen a lot of memes that were like, the Multiverse at 100%, the Guardians of the Multiverse at 99%, and it's just a picture of Strange. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly how that works. The rest of them would be dead without him.
Absolutely true.
But it was nice that this was Chadwick Boseman's.
Yeah, I thought that was a great performance from him. He was cheeky, he was fun, he was also serious. He stole the Soul Stone. I don't understand how, but he did it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought that was a good send off for him.
Yep.
Well, okay. He was in 3 episodes, right?
4.
What was the 4? He was in his, and then he was in the Zombies, and he was in this one. What was the other one he was in?
And he was in.
He was in the Killmonger one.
Yep.
This version of him was better. Like, if you would have said what would be the best episode for a send off, the episode that was his centric episode would have been the best one. But they had to put it in early. This one was definitely better than Zombie and him dying in the other universe. So they got the second best out of the 4 episodes to send him off on. That's what I would say.
Now, I will say there's one thing I didn't like about the episode, and it's not any of their fault. The fact that there was supposed to be an episode where Tony goes to Sakaar after Age of Ultron and that meets up with
Gamora.
Infinity Gauntlet Gamora, and they kill Thanos and stuff.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I would have been interested in that.
Yeah, well, because they open up in this episode getting Gamora, and you're like, what's happened here? But apparently we're supposed to have seen that, but they scrapped the episode.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder how bad it turned out, how bad focus groups thought that episode was. And they're like, no. I will say there was a Stark when pun intended, I guess. When he goes to them, I was like, man, the guy who does Tony Stark's voice, he's doing a fairly good Robert Downey Jr. impression. But then when I realized Gamora wasn't Zoe Saldana, I was like, wow, she's not anywhere close to being Zoe Saldana's voice. And I got disappointed in that.
Yeah.
Not the actress's fault, just circumstances of that. I just wanted it to be Zoe Saldana and it wasn't. And that was disappointing.
Yep. I understand. But do you have anything else to say about this episode?
No, I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was a good capper. Guardians of the Multiverse. I like that they did the circle shot, which was good. I kind of like this version of Thor in this episode. I didn't like him in his own episode, but I liked him as part of a team with a goal.
Yeah.
He kept true to his party boy self, but he had a goal, so it was muted. So I like that. Yeah. Ultron was kind of funny. He tried to be funny. It was cool. And I like that they got to bring Natasha in because they went to that particular universe. So I liked how they added in every episode to the end, which was good.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, nothing else I need to say about this. All right, so that's the end of the show.
Oh, we did it. We're here. Next episode's the Big 4.
Yep, Big 40.
Yeah, it's middle-aged.
Yeah, the show is over the hill now, so I guess over the hill is better than under it, right?
Unless you're a Hobbit.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of which, I have watched as of release, I have watched all 3 of the original Lord of the Rings movies in one day.
That's a lot.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a good day. Like
I watched the first 2 Godfathers in a day last week, and that was a bit of stuff to do.
Yeah, I loved every second of it. Like I'm like over here being like, ooh, this might be my favorite trilogy of all time. Which is so sad because then the next trilogy they made is probably one of my least favorite trilogies of all time.
Yeah, it's sad how much of a, how much of a difference there was. And
well, Robert, thank you for coming on the show.
thank you for having me. I was happy to talk about my match. I was happy to talk about Venom. I was happy to talk about What If.
Yep. All that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, you can follow me at Colton Roberts 8 and follow the show at SuperNova_show. Do you have anything you would like to plug?
No, just at Robert Kastner. More stuff coming up. Warzone, Untitled, TMG. So you'll see me a bit more as the year winds down. As we get into the holiday season. Coming. Scary as that is.
Oh, yeah. But, yep, this has been a good show, and see you guys later.
Don't forget to tip your virtual waitress, everybody.